Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Fight Sport Manila!
Hey guys, how are you doing? We are back for another episode of Fight Sport Manila Verbal Sparring. I know we've been gone for a very long while, but we have to do this because we have a special guest right now. But before anything else, that voice was made by none other than the legendary ring announcer Lenny Hart. If you want to have your own voiceover shout-outs done, just go to lennyhart.com and she can hook you up with it. Now, during the past year, we've guested a lot of famous people in MMA. We have the likes of Alexander Volkanovski. We have the likes of Czech Congo, Chris Lieben. But it feels so empty because we always wanted to have this guest, and now we finally have it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for the one and only Mark Muñoz.
What's up,
Hey, how you
everybody?
doing, Kuya?
I'm doing well, doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for doing this. Now, before we go on and have a conversation, I've been checking your Instagram, and I know it got strict again. But before it did, I see that you were able to travel with your family. How's the feeling that you were able to visit places with your family and finally see your parents?
It was awesome. Because of the pandemic, we were unable to visit family. And so being that my dad has underlying issues, so he had a stroke, he had two strokes, and then he had triple bypass surgery. So it was difficult, not to be able to see my family. But it was good to see them finally. Good to see them. We're all vaccinated, so they felt comfortable with us seeing them.
Now, I'm sure your dad, like you and your son, is a warrior and he's going to fight through this. But on a lighter note, I have to know every time, there are these Filipino gatherings, they have a lot of food. What's one food that you missed that your mom prepared for you that you finally got to eat when you saw her?
Oh man, I mean, shoot, the whole the whole spread, man. I mean, shoot, dinuguan, kare kare, pancit palabok, adobo. I mean, shoot, and then lumpia, man. Of course, you got to have some lumpia there. So, man, I mean, it's the whole spread, man. I mean, when we get together, I mean, it's Filipino food all the time. So, even the dessert like champorado. So I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Man, that sounds like a feast, and that's also some of the things we eat every time there are parties here. But you did mention lumpia, and another cool thing about it, man, is that your movie is still having select screenings in different parts of the states. I mean, we weren't able to talk to you when it's showing, but like now that we have you, can you share with us your experiences doing the Lumpia movie? Because I know when you fought here on the UFC, you did mention that you will make a movie, and now it came into fruition.
Yeah, the Lumpia with a Vengeance. So this is actually a sequel to the first Lumpia movie, but it was an amazing experience. I mean, to be on the same set as Danny Trio and to
Exactly.
share to share the camera with him was amazing. So, um, I'm looking forward to making more movies and using Lumpia as my weapon.
Definitely. We would love to see that. And hopefully it comes to the Netflix version of the Philippines so we could watch you. But you did
Yeah.
mention Danny Trejo. I mean, could you share with us a specific experience you had while working with him? And were you able to get him to eat Filipino food?
Yeah, he had some lumpia, man. He had some lumpia, and he, of course, because he was taquito boy, in the film. He's like, yeah, it's kind of like taquitos, but I'm trying to talk like him, but it's a lot crispier. So, yeah, he was just a cool man, amazing guy. I mean, he looked scary, but he's super cool. Very cordial, very nice, um, and amazing acting. I learned a lot.
Yeah, he is truly a class act. Now, before we move on to the other topics, I want to know how much lumpia did you eat during the filming of this one?
Oh man, they had to make fresh ones all the time because when I bit into it, sometimes they didn't like the scene, and so they reshot the scene, and so they were making like a lot of lumpia. So I had to bite through a lot of lumpia, which I don't mind all that much. So, but
Now, who doesn't?
it was all. I know, right? I know. So, and it was all different kinds. Shanghai lumpia, and then sometimes it had vegetables in it. So I was like, oh, okay, all right. And then there was toron. So I was like, oh,
Huh?
okay. Like we'll have every kind of fried golden brown fried stuff around here.
Yeah, Tehran is really good. Now, the cool thing about this Lumpia movie, and for those listening, these started as like indie filmmakers who had no resources to make a movie, and they made
Yeah.
one using what they have around them. And finally, they got this movie. Was it hard for them to convince you to join this film?
Yeah, I mean, they asked the same person that actually helped shoot the Black Eyed Peas was from the Bay Area and from where I grew up, and I just maybe this is something where it can get started, and so Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek shot Desperado, and it was the same way. So I thought, maybe this is something to put our Filipino culture out there, and maybe it'll catch, and we'll see. Maybe I can be part of the Avengers, as Lumpia Man. So I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, guys like Iron Man and Captain America had to leave the Avengers. There is some spots there, and Lumpia Man definitely could go and show in a Marvel movie. Now,
Yeah, that would be
another
cool,
cool
man. That would be cool.
exactly. Now, for everyone who's watching, you can see Kuya Mark is in a car, and that's because he's on his way to the gym. And I want to congratulate you because it's been a good couple of months for Training Lab. First of all, let's talk about the Olympics. Your athletes won
Yeah.
some medals. How does it feel for you?
Oh man, it was amazing. It was amazing to be able to share the banner of the training lab and have those guys represent the training lab. It was amazing. You know, from David Taylor to Helen Maroulis to Thomas Gilman to like pretty much everybody on the Olympic team. Kyle Snyder. It was an amazing showing. So yeah, I'm really excited and super proud, and it's man, the training lab is growing, man. So it's really cool.
Definitely. And I have to ask you, I would assume that you guys trained during the pandemic. How did you make it work? Because I mean, I can't speak for your place, but right here, it's like literally off limits. How did you train these guys during those times?
So we would buy tests, and so we would do the nasal swabs like every day, and so we had one scare, not a couple. We had one scare where somebody tested positive um, from the weekend, and so that happened, and he ended up quarantining and coming back testing negative. So, but we tested for COVID every day, um, and made sure everybody was safe. I mean, we had to charge for them. That was the only thing. But if they wanted to train, they had to buy some COVID tests.
I mean, I would agree with you because you have to make sure that the gym would be safe for everyone training, even though
Yep.
nasal swabs aren't the most fun thing to do, but it's something that
No,
has to be done.
it has
Now,
to
I
be
have
done. To keep us safe.
Exactly. Now, I mean, you already got medals. Another cool thing is that our own kababayans got medals as well in different sports like boxing, weightlifting. I mean,
Yeah.
you mentioned during your last fight here that you wanted to train some Filipino wrestlers to, possibly participate in the Olympics. I know that right now, I mean, a lot of things happen, but is that still part of your immediate plans or your future plans?
Yes, I mean, I would love to. I would love to coach in the Philippines and be able to help my country. So I mean, I would love to go out and teach, and even have them come out here and wrestle some of the talent out here in the United States. And so I definitely want to be able to do that, and help my country, and to be able to raise the banner of the Philippines in the sport of wrestling for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I would want to ask, and I'm sure everyone else would like to ask. I mean, could you share with us your reaction regarding our kababayans winning some medals? Because it's been a long while since that happened.
Yeah, especially lifting, to have to the story she had, man. Oh my gosh, she was lifting like water jugs, for weight, and so I was, just to have that type of um, resilience and desire and dedication and commitment, to the sport, and so um, there's a lot of talent in the Philippines. In boxing, obviously, boxing is always amazing. For them to
Exactly.
show, just the way we are. Hardworking people, and willing to work hard despite whatever happens in our life, in adversity. So it was amazing to watch. I loved to watch, and sometimes I wasn't able to watch everything, but hearing about it, and feeling the pride of the Filipinas, man, it was amazing. So yeah, I feel a sense of pride within my heart and soul.
Yeah, that is so true. And just to share with what you said, aside from Heidelin, like one of the boxers, Carlo, was scavenging on garbage. So
It's
it's
crazy.
really nice that they got to win. And man, I have to ask now. We have to go to the MMA scene. I mean, you're doing good in the wrestling side, but also guys like TJ Dillashaw and Misha Tate, they did some amazing comebacks. How do you feel as
Yeah,
part of their coaching team for that?
yeah. I mean, TJ, I was the one who got him into MMA. So just to see that, and just the amount of work he puts in, and for him to come back and do things right, not hide things. It was cool to see. And then with Misha Tate, oh my gosh, man! So, after having kids, and being off for a long time, and for her to come back under Coach Cal, and be under his regimen as far as strength conditioning, it's amazing. It's amazing what she did. And so anybody can come back from anything. Whether it be, I mean, that's just motivation, and inspiration on life. If you're down, you can rise above any adversity that you come across. And so Misha Tate and TJ Dillashaw, even if you make mistakes, you can still rise above. And so those two are great examples of how to rise above adversity and come back and do things the right way.
Exactly, and their recent performances showed that they are still championship caliber. But you did mention
Yeah.
everyone could come back. I mean, people
Yeah.
would get mad at me if I don't ask. I mean, is there still that itch on your part to go back into MMA?
There is some. I mean, I had some guys come in through the gym, and Vince St. Preux came in, and I tested myself against him, and I did really well. And so and me being fat and out of shape, so I can definitely get back in there, and right now, there's a lot that's going on in my life, but I would love to come back. Look at Manny Pacquiao. I
Exactly.
mean, shoot, he's doing it too. So hey, you might not see the last of the Filipino Wrecking Machine for sure.
Well, we are excited if that happens, and hopefully, if you have a fight, we get to have you back on the show. But man, I mean, another amazing gift for you is your son Trey. He's doing great in the wrestling
Yeah,
scene in his state, man. I mean, what are your thoughts regarding how his trajectory is? Because correct me if I'm wrong. You said you retired because Trey personally asked you if you could train him, and now that he's doing really good, I mean, that must be a very proud dad moment for you.
yeah, yeah. So with my son, he was the straw that broke the camel's back because he made me realize that I was putting my family in the back burner. I was training, 6 hours a day, and I was, traveling, and my kids were growing up without a dad, and mom was by herself, and um, so when he came up to me and said, "Dad, I want to quit soccer and baseball, and I want to wrestle," it was like like a overhand right to the jaw. I mean, he just woke me up and said, "Wow," I mean, just looking at him growing up and excuse me, him growing up and me missing things, and I didn't want to do that anymore. And when he basically said that I want to be like you, it was just like, wow, I need to really consider this, and so and I had a gym at the time. I had Rain Training Center. So I mean, I was being a father to a lot of different other people instead of my family. So it just made me realize that, and I had discussions with my wife, and it was time. So I decided to retire 6 weeks later and have my fight in the Philippines, and it was and just to see him now, and so fast forward to 7 years later. Now he won a state championship, won a national championship, got a full ride scholarship to Arizona State, and now he's one of the up and coming wrestlers in the Division 1 wrestling arena. So he's doing well. Doing well for himself, and I'm super proud of him. And he was just home last week, so he actually is going to transfer to Oregon State because his coach went there, and that recruited him and babysat him when he was little. So he's going to go to Oregon State in about a week. We got to go over there and move his stuff out. But he'll continue his college career at Oregon State.
Yeah, I mean, that's something every dad would have done, and I think, if you retiring to be able to guide his career and seeing what he has become, I think it's worth what the risk, I guess, so to say, because Trey is up and coming, right, as you said. Now, you as a dad, you said you'll be supportive of him no matter what, but if he would ask you for advice, and he would ask if he would focus on the Olympics or go professional as an MMA fighter, what would you say to him?
Let's go. Let's go. Let's do it. And so I could definitely train him in both. So but right now he's focusing on wrestling and would love to be on a world team and an Olympic team. So let's focus on that. We'll take it as it comes. So if he wants to fight, yeah, let's go. But if he wants to focus on wrestling, I'll just support him. I'll be his dad. I'll be his cheerleader, but at the same time, I have knowledge and wisdom in the sport if he wants it.
Yeah, and I could see that, he is going to be up there regardless of what sport he chooses. And hopefully, another person with Filipino blood winning a gold in the
Yeah,
Olympic or a gold in MMA.
that's right. Hey, that's right. That's right.
Now, Kuya Mark, you have been very gracious with your time, and I know you're going to train a lot of people today. But before we let you go, a lot of people in the Philippines have missed you, and I guess this is the perfect time to talk to them and thank them for all the support. Because until now, I don't know if you are aware, you are still regarded as one of the top Filipino fighters of all time.
Oh man, I love it. And Pilipinas, maraming salamat po sa inyong suporta sa akin. I just am I'm in love with the Philippines, and I want to come back, and I want to be able to teach there, like I said in my fight post fight speech. And the sentiment is still true. So um, mahal ko kayong lahat. I want to be there with you guys, and thank you so much for all the support.
Hey, thank you so much, Kuya Mark, and you stay safe
You're
there,
welcome.
you and your family. And hopefully soon we could meet and have lumpia or kare kare, because that sounds like a great idea.
Let's do it. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. You have a great day.
Yeah,
Fight Sport Manila,
you're welcome.
everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Fight Sport Manila